Barwon Investment Partners was founded in 2006, and over the past 17 years we've invested over $3 billion in capital on behalf of our investors, including some of Australia's largest superannuation funds and those leading wealth management groups. Our philosophy has always been to bring rigorous discipline and great governance to sectors that have been traditionally under-researched, perhaps mispriced, and a little less competed. We use a vigorous bottom-up approach to assess value and to manage risks, and therefore generate returns for our investors. I'm very proud of our efforts to date in this regard in the specialist disability accommodation sector, and I'm confident that these efforts will deliver attractive government-backed yield with capital growth over the medium term for our clients, as well as importantly delivering that high-quality accommodation for people who are living with disability in our communities.
In 2016, the National Disability Insurance Scheme introduced a new program of government-funded rental payments to incentivise the private sector to build and deliver high-quality accommodation for eligible NDIS participants. Put simply, specialist disability accommodation looks and feels like typical residential accommodation, but includes features which cater for people with disabilities that have extreme functional impairment or very high support needs. To qualify for SDA, our residents must meet the eligibility criteria set by the NDIS and have the SDA funding as part of their NDIS funding plan. Returns in the SDA sector are similar to returns in other property sectors, comprising of rental payments and the potential for capital gain through increases in rents and compression of capitalisation rates. The SDA rental payments, which are funded by the government and paid by the NDIS, are CPI linked, providing a good inflation hedge for investors. We like that the SDA sector is at the earlier stages of its establishment, but it is growing rapidly, and there is still an undersupply of high quality, well located, fit for purpose dwellings. The CPI linked nature of the rents makes these assets a good inflation hedge for investors. When the property is occupied, the rents are backed by the government through the NDIS, and important to note is that the SDA funding makes up less than 1% of the NDIS budget, so they are less susceptible to budget control. We prefer a lower risk approach to acquiring assets in this sector. The fund predominantly acquires existing and occupied properties, but given the relatively new stage of the market, we also enter finance to own structures to enable us to secure new SDA supply. In the latter, we contract construction, development and leasing risks to counterparties to reduce the risk for the fund. We look for properties that achieve the intent of the SDA program and will be attractive to participants over the long term, are of good design, well built and compliant with the SDA design codes, are within an established care network so our residents can be serviced by high quality providers, have a durable competitive positioning such that they can't easily be replicated or competed against, are supported by the right set of partners to ensure our residents are well serviced, and are priced correctly in order to achieve the right returns for our investors. Whilst asset selection is key, we also understand how important having the right partners are to ensure that we can attract and retain residents. Therefore, we spend quite a lot of time engaging and meeting with our care providers and specialist property managers to understand the attractiveness of different geographic regions and specific assets within undersupplied areas.
Having now established one of the largest diversified portfolios of specialist disability accommodation in Australia, Barwon Investment Partners is well placed to offer investors access to this segment of the market. The fund will offer investors good steady income growth with government backing and capital growth over the medium term, but importantly continue to deliver on that mission of providing high quality accommodation for people living with disability in our communities.